Hello everyone, it's Mr. Scott again. And you'll notice that we have two picture planes as we deal with three-point perspective. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to be using both, but I'm going to try to give you an example of how three-point can work. Now, we've been through 1 point. 1 point is you have a horizon line, and somewhere on there there's going to be a vanishing point. We've done 2 points. We have a horizon line somewhere, vanishing points go on both ends. So what's 3 points? 3 points is 3 vanishing points. I know, big shocker. But if you think it's okay, well, here's one, here's one, here's one, that's enough. In 3-point perspective, and this is why I've been having you draw boxes and not just using the entire page, 3-point is probably the most troublesome of the perspectives because you have to think and draw outside your box. Normal artists will have draft tables, not these things you use in class, actual fully wooden tables with large rulers called T-squares that when they do 3-point perspective, they have their vanishing points and horizon lines going all out of the page. These things are being drawn on the table itself, and they will stay there until they're wiped off. With most drafting tables that have been around the block, they will have those etchings of the pencil work in there for years. There's grooves that will never be filled unless it's done so by whoever places that artist. So in this case, we're going to look at horizon line down here to think, okay, we're at ground level. But our next one is going to go up here, off the picture plane. Seldom will you see, I'm being very particular with my words here, seldom will you see the third vanishing point be on the picture plane, because that really scrunches everything up. So now we have everything coming out of our vanishing point. Curve there, let's not do that. Especially this is why I say make sure your lines are straight, do not curve them. They are probably the most important when it gets to 3-point perspective. Remember, you do not have to have the exact same number of lines I do. So now we're at 1 point. Let's bring on the next set. Just so we're 2 point, you want these lines to intersect. Also, to whoever I said you can totally use these rulers, there's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was a lie. These are definitely, this one at least definitely is a bit off. A lot of damage. Maybe someone actually was chewing on this. Now, if this was a 2-point drawing, this just means you have some tall buildings, but nothing terribly tall. That's when you get to number 3. Yeah, that's a lot. So how does it work? Well, in this case, where we are obviously looking up at something, this is going to create a sharp incline. So in which case, let us take this one here. We're going to carry it all the way down here. Already this is a little bit off. just erase. So what happens now? Because thus far it doesn't look too different. It looks kind of warped. It looks very pointy. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to establish another line over here, slightly thinner than the others, because remember, things get smaller as they get farther away from the viewer. And suddenly you find yourself drawing something more akin to a tower. This is why I say that you want to make this above the horizon line. In fact, above the picture plane. In fact, I could probably have gone further up. Now, once you have something like this, unless you really want to make it look small, your sidewalk and your roads are going to be tiny, such as this. See how close I'm getting in there. This is your Empire State Building. This is your Sears Tower. You're truly enormous buildings. I'm just putting a little bit of sidewalk here. I am not going to do this much detail on that because the thing is, if you can count every single slab, those are some gigantic slabs. Completely unsuitable. Being used for travel. Now this also means a larger road, so you need multiple road markers, multiple lanes. Please don't be like Dallas and have like one lane. Dallas is a nightmare to drive through as is. Now at this point you can probably add a few more buildings around it if you like. I encourage this. I'm not going to demand it per se, at least not right now. And yes, it is a lot of lines. It is an unruly, ungodly amount of lines, and I'm sorry for that. And like with 2 point, you can just start mucking up the backgrounds to get farther enough. But we've been avoiding the hard parts this entire time, so yeah, it is time to start establishing things like doors, entrances, a lot, and I do mean a lot of windows. I'm recording this on the 27th, but I can already hear those of you who are going like, Mrs. Scott, what is this? No, I ain't doing this. Well, thankfully, I'm not going to require this too much in your next project. You may have one picture in 3 point, but it's a multiple step drawing process that I am not going to be that cruel with because I hated doing 3 point in college and high school. Now, because this is so integral to height, your windows cannot be simply made with the lines you have for 1 and 2. I have to use number 3. Because unfortunately, whereas those 2 points really just said, okay, horizontal lines can't be used. 3 point starts taking away verticals as well. Not as drastically as how horizontals were taking out 2 points, but you notice I only really have 1 vertical line here. Maybe 2, yeah, 2. And even then, there'd still be a little bit of slant to that. And then you'll use vanishing points 1 and 2 to make the quote-unquote horizontal parts. Here's an important thing, though. Once you get past to a certain height, you don't pretty much stop. There'll be so many lines there, you won't be able to tell where everything is anyway. You got a P on the other side too, but in this case, I'm just going to erase, clean up some. Because really, the windows can practically be shading at this point. So you must be wondering, okay, so if that's what it does here, what does it do over here? Well, in this case, we are going to go for the opposite. And I like to call this the vertigo angle because, oh dear God, if you have a fear of heights, this will mess you up. So once again, horizon line, vanishing point 2, vanishing point 1. This time, our third one is going to go down here. So if your vanishing point is high above your picture plane, it stands to reason that if it's below it, you've switched your views. This one you're looking up, this one you're looking very far down. And views like this are used a lot by comic artists, particularly those of like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, the ones that tend to go flying across a city or swinging on lines most of the time. What it's supposed to do is give you a sense of vertigo. And from here it works the same way. So I'm going to do a little bit of cheating here by establishing a foreground element, this time another building. And then you can start worrying about putting the other buildings in. I tend to find that the horizon line, rather the third vanishing point down below is a little bit easier to manage. We'll notice how, once again, verticals are being taken out. Everything leans in. And you get the idea. So what happens here is that, like any other foreground element, you can just color in. All the other buildings work on the same principle as this one. Plant your windows, put anything on the top you want. And this one is a little bit easier to flub up because probably around here, this area, you're going to start putting in just the basic shapes. Just make sure that they all kind of contour towards the vanishing point down here. Preliminary shading in here. I'm going to establish my 3D forms. Something else I found useful is to just start making the building tops and then worry about the lines afterwards. Now everyone go like, Mrs. Scott, this is college work. Like, actually it's more like professional work. But here is the thing that you have to understand. Even professionals hate three-point. The ones that can do all those big, awesome city scenes, they hate three-point. Always have, they always will. Three-point is just one big, messy affair. Because it looks cool when done correctly, every company wants it. It's not just comic books, too. You work in cartoons, guess what? You gotta draw these. Especially when it takes place in the city. Work on a live-action movie, storyboards. Gotta use these, too. What about just have a commercial? Does it take place in a tall city? Yes, you gotta do this, too. Batman silhouette there, why not? Batman silhouette then, why not? Ooh, it's a messy bat, but I'll keep it for now. And there it is, three-point perspective. Now, we will have a bit of practice for this, hopefully tomorrow, but definitely on Friday. On Friday, we will go over this together as a class, and then I will assign you your project. But what you may think, you can do this. And if you think you can't do that, you're also right, because you're telling yourself you've lost before you even begun the race. Have some confidence. And have a nice day.